Testing 1 2 3. Quick test 1 2 3. Hello. Perfect. My stream software crashed when I went live the first time, so I had to hurry and restart it back up. That was awesome. Hope you can see me good. I've got Steam up. I have got Twitch up. TikTok. Should have YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter up. If anyone's watching on those platforms, a quick just wave or hello would be amazing to help us test if the video is going through. How you doing today, Mondu? What you been up to this last few days? Welcome back, one and all, to the bi-weekly Dam Challenge stream. For those just joining us and wondering what we're doing, the Dam Challenge is a bi-weekly map-making contest we host here on our varied stream platforms as well as on our Discord. The current Dam Challenge theme was Feast, so using Feast as inspiration, I challenged our community to make a map and share it on our Discord. Today we'll be showcasing the various entries from the Feast Dam Challenge, including the winner, and we will be picking a new theme for our next Dam Challenge. So, if you're interested in participating in a future Dam Challenge, make sure you tune in and kind of watch and learn from the various maps and help us pick a new theme so you kind of have an edge on the next couple weeks of map making. You can get a head start, so to speak. Anyway, again, my name is Mac. I am the community manager. I think my camera's a little off there. Let me fix that. Welcome one and all to the Dam Challenge stream. I hope you had an amazing week. So the first map we'll be showcasing is the winning map. It is called Loot Feast. Oh, I guess, yeah, Loot Feast or Safe House, Secret Place for Adventurers, and it was shared by Geronimo. So congratulations to Geronimo. Hey, thank you, YouTube, for confirming, and also we've got Twitter. So we've got Noah. Hello, how you doing, Noah? Welcome. Jab, welcome back. Lila, hello, how are you? Yeah, this map is quite cool. So Geronimo really gets super detailed in his builds, and he's been, making all sorts of really crazy maps for some time. I am wonderful, Lila. Thank you for asking. Appreciate it. In fact, how is everyone doing today? Hey, Michelle, how you doing? How's the stream coming through on Steam? But yeah, let's give a big congratulations to Geronimo. And then also, I think I am a little behind and can't get ahead. What do you mean by that, Noah? Like delay or something? Hey, Ricky. But this map here is just a stunning build. Let me show you the top down. If you look at it, it is a little kind of essentially a safe house. I'm assuming the story behind it is it could be a safe house for either baddies or the good guys. It's got all sorts of little, options for it and little passages and entryways, back passages, stuff like that. But I think it's a cool place for a crew to meet up after a heist or something like that. You could try refreshing, Noah, but unfortunately, there's always going to be a slight delay. Good to hear, Michelle. Thank you for the confirmation. Just one moment. I just want to make sure I've got all the chat feeds up where I can see them clearly. Ah, there we go. For some reason, my chatbot feed was minimized, so I'm glad I pulled that up. I've got TikTok, I've got Steam, I've got YouTube, I've got Twitter, Facebook, Twitch, all visible, so I'm monitoring chats and all. Yeah, I appreciate everyone being here right as soon as we went live, as well as, being active in chat. Although I don't mind if you're lurking. Don't mind that at all. Being a lurker is part of the stream experience. It just... you just help us grow with visibility and support the stream in that way, but you could be listening or could just have it watching while you're away even. Some people do that, or some people will just kind of watch silently. It is a nice map, though. It's very beautiful. I would say, Noah, that some stream platforms are a little less delayed than others. Like the Twitch stream, I think, has the best latency, so it's like the smallest delay. Whereas like Steam is like 10-15 seconds, has the worst delay, I feel like. You're cooking taquitos, Thrash Metal Man. You're making me hungry, man. Oh my goodness. Sounds delicious. So this base here, would you use this for like your party members to kind of get away after like they pull off a mission or a heist or something? Or would this be maybe a bad guy's lair, or maybe a bad guy's lair that the good guys turn to their own lair? That's one thing I've like always wanted to do in a campaign, is like find a place that was like a really cool defensible lair that we take over, clear out. What do you mean? What do you mean by that, Ricky? Noah, you might be a lurker. I mean, you're actively chatting today. Rich Baron's base, that could work too. I could see this being a meeting place for a bunch of people to meet in secret, to plan something. Thrash Metal, welcome back, by the way. How you doing? Ooh. Yeah, no, they have zero latency. Low latency, zero latency on Twitch, so it tends to be pretty good. I get you, Ricky. Thank you for the clarification. What's going on with my phone? So, we have had a Blue Sky account for like months. Like almost a year, right? And I tried to grow there a little bit before. And... oh man, is there no link for that? I thought we had one. Well, maybe we'll set up a command for that later. But anyway, I set up this account there ages ago and was posting there semi-regularly. It didn't really go anywhere. I thought the platform was just kind of doomed to die. And in the last 2 months, there's been several instances where there's just been a huge influx of users. Like silly business decisions from other platforms, or people just getting sick of other platforms moving over to it. And so we've been growing rather swiftly there, I should say. So if anyone's interested. Yeah, considering, like less than a month ago, it was like a fraction of that. Yeah, yep, you got it. That's it. I'm gonna quickly set up a command. I thought I had one for Blue Sky. Let's see here. Right now, I'm just gonna make a very basic one, and then we'll update it later. But the command should be bsky. Hey, Reb, how have you been? Oh, that would be a great idea, Noah. That's a very good idea. Looks like a great place to... Oh, Jab says, looks like a great place to break in and loot. Thrash metal, man. You just were on a business trip. How was that? Let's hear about it. If you're, if you're cool with sharing, of course. I'm glad you're here, Reb, and I'm sorry you're feeling sick, my man. But I'm happy that you are with us today, joining us for the first time in some time. The map is interesting though. Let's pop into it in like a first person token. Hey, Geronimo, congratulations. Can we get a round of applause and a congratulations to Geronimo on winning the damn challenge with this lovely map? Honestly, this map could be used in a variety of different ways, and I think that's part of the reason I enjoyed it so much, and that I picked it. Not only was it well decorated, lots of detail, but this could be used in so many different ways. This could be a meeting place for, like, gang bosses to meet and discuss things. It could be a hideout for bandits or for, heroes in, all sorts of different things this could be used for. I like it. Glad you popped in, Geronimo. Can you tell us a bit about the map, why you chose to go this route, and what was your favorite aspect of the build? Speech! Speech! Just kidding. I know, Jab. Jab on Twitch says, I can't believe how far DA has come, how amazing and beautiful things you can create, how much it still is. It's still to come with the next updates, right? The next update is going to be game-changing when it comes to Dungeon Alchemist. I honestly really am so excited as we get closer and closer to the Fun with Objects update. I had a little meeting last week with Wim, the creator of Dungeon Alchemist, to kind of talk about what's going on development-wise, so I could get a sneak peek and get an idea of what they're working on, as well as kind of share community concerns about the direction of the update, based on feedback from a couple of streams that I've had recently. And it wasn't just one person, it was like several people said very similar things, so I decided to pass that information on. And we're already, honestly, we're already starting to kind of take, appropriate steps to compensate and calibrate to, towards that feedback. Hey, no, I'm sorry you're feeling sick. Honestly, it seems like there's something really going around right now. I wonder if there's a new COVID strain that's pretty potent at the moment. Just take it easy, y'all. If you're sick, get lots of fluids, get some rest. Oh my gosh, that owl, I didn't even notice it before. Holy cow. That owl is dope. Look at him. He's just chill. Reb, isn't that like some sort of like zombie disease? Hey, Bane, how you doing? Welcome back, my friend. What you been up to, brother? Really good detail on the map, Geronimo. Oh my gosh, Bane. Goodness. Okay, raise of hands. How many different people in chat at the various platforms are sick right now? Oh my goodness. So many different people. Well, now I know why everyone's here today. Y'all are bored. Need something to do while you're sick in bed, huh? Damn challenge to the rescue. Lilandra, you just got well. I'm happy to hear it. Right, Broken King? That's my strategy. I hide out at home all the time, and when I leave, I basically don't interact with people. I do like curbside groceries or I go to the ATM. I don't go into places. That owl is really the winner on this map. Honestly, Geronimo's maps are quite fantastic. I'm sure you've experienced a handful of them on the workshop if you've browsed through it a little bit. This is just another great one for the collection. With my hint, what do you mean, Ricky? Do you want me to show you teasers? Is that what you want? Let's see what I've got in here. Oh no. Geronimo, I'm so sorry, my man. Rough. Yeah, it's hard to like go to big meetups and not get sick, right? This time of year especially, you gotta be careful, you know, with all the family meetups and stuff. You've evolved. What did you evolve from? From YouTube? Ah, were you Noah? I was gonna say, did you, because your name is Random Ugly Guy, and so I'm thinking, did you evolve from Random Guy to Random? That seems like a unfair evolution. I was a potato. I'm a petri dish myself. Okay, let's look at some teasers, okay, for just a minute, and then we'll show some more map. Sound good? So some of you haven't been around, you may have not seen some of these teasers. So I'm going to show a couple that some of you may have seen, some of you may not. Sound good? So in our next update, we're incorporating multi-level, which is a pretty big deal. You'll be able to jump between the levels with a hotkey or by clicking an interface. You'll be able to link the levels with stairs and hatches and all sorts of stuff. Well, thank you for the follow. Much appreciated, Random Ugly Guy. I feel bad saying your name. Like, I'm really not calling him that. That's I'm giving him the name he identifies as. That's killing me. I love it. Broken King, you were a potato? I mean, that's a good way to avoid getting sick. Probably not many strains of illness that affect potatoes besides blight. And we're kind of anticipating that it'll most likely be some sort of export by level, kind of like each level is a slice or a layer of the map that you can export, and it'll be an individual level. So, hey, Cronclor, sorry, I just noticed your message. That's a very good question. So, Cronclor on TikTok asks, are old maps backward compatible with levels, or best to start from scratch? So, it really depends on how much you put into the old map. Like, if you built a bunch of levels by hand, probably not backwards compatible much. But if it's just the first level, then yeah, you could probably just build on top of that pretty quickly. Oh, Michelle, I like hearing that. So Michelle on Steam says, watching you on this day is like watching Saturday morning cartoons when I was growing up. That makes me smile. Honestly, like I totally vibe with the Saturday morning cartoon like era, because that was me. I was like a latchkey kid that like either came home and watched cartoons and did homework, or watched cartoons every Saturday morning at home alone, or babysat my brother and sister, you know, whatever. But yeah, I honestly, I there has been some concern about the backwards compatibility, because for instance, we're doing away with all the downward stairs. More than often than not, people dislike them and complain about them because they're really odd how they create like a weird mount in the ground. They mount into the ground and create a hole, and they're fixed there. They can't be resized. So essentially we're doing away with those, and essentially upstairs will account for all up and down stairs, because technically a stair can go both ways. Conjunction junction, what's your function? So, but like when I was growing up, Saturday morning cartoons were like, I think, peak. Like I had X-Men and Spider-Man and like, oh my gosh, like so many good cartoons in the morning. So if you're looking at this clip and you're wondering what's happening, this is a new feature in the next update. Yes, TMNT, the first iteration of shows like Transformers grew up on that stuff. So if you're looking at this video really quickly, let me explain what you're seeing. This is a custom object brush. So in the next update, you'll be able to select any object and turn that into a brush, which means you can paint it en masse really quickly, saving lots of time. So the buildings will allow you to create substructures and above ground structures, multi-level, going into the ground and above ground. Essentially, you'll be able to do both, a mixture of both. Yeah, something like that I see is essentially right on target, because it'll be exporting each level as an individual like slice of the map, an individual image or video. Those will be separate scenes on your virtual tabletop of choice. If you're printing them, you just lay them all on top of each other, right? And as your players go into the next one, you reveal it, right? But if you are on a virtual tabletop, you would set them up as scenes, and then either transition the players from scene to scene manually, or use a module, like on Foundry, there's monks, active tiles, or I think levels does something like that too. And you can essentially teleport players once they get to a stair to the next floor. Yes, you can already do that with the object brush. So anything you can do with the existing object brush will incorporate into the custom object brush. So if you look at the object brush carefully, there's several different brush types. There's scatter, grid, circle, and line. You got brush size, brush density, but if you open up this panel here, rotation, scaling, and scale average. So you could set up random scaling all over the place, or mostly the same. Scale average, meaning very small or very large. Rotation is nice too, to add more diversity to it as well. One thing I'm really hoping for with the next update is a mass exporter. Mainly because when we have levels and you have, say, 5 to 10 levels, it's going to be a pain to export those one at a time. Yeah, you can paint with collisions off already. Just disable collisions and start painting. But yes, that would be the same with custom objects too. So Cronkler on TikTok just asked that. But basically, the custom object brush will allow you to select any object from the object menu that isn't already a brush, or an object you downloaded from the workshop, and then turn that into a brush. So this here is a loot feast. This is kind of a secret hideout where adventurers, or maybe bad guys, you know, the bandits, come to meet after a heist or before one to plan it. You know what show I really liked growing up? It was Thundercats. I don't know. I might be kind of like a random in that one, but Thundercats was my jam. Power Rangers was pretty good too, man. It was a pretty good intro. Like, I mean, it was like core metal intro. I'm not that knowledgeable about features. Would it be possible, like stages of an object? So you're hoping to have a scattering of several objects, like a palette. I don't think the first iteration of the object brush will the custom object brush will incorporate that. Dragon Master, how you doing? Well, oh, you're on Twitch now too? Cool, thank you very much. Awesome. Honestly, the Twitch feed tends to be the smoothest, but I pay attention to all chats, and it's just I bounce around about every 30 seconds between them. Okay, let's look at another video really quick. Something that'll kind of give you an idea of how multi-level will work. Anything that sinks into the ground, like countersinks into the ground when it sets, cannot be resized. And I don't know if we'll ever allow it to be resized. Things like pits, pools, stuff like that. Some objects, they're just countersunk into the ground, and when they do that, I'm not 100% sure behind the logic behind it or the development choice. I just know that is the main, that is the... They all fall into that category, or they're wall mountable, typically. One or the other. The object brush only will include one object at this first iteration, as far as I'm aware. I've suggested allowing a palette, i.e. multiple objects, but I don't think they'll build it in this first time. You would like a mixture of plants, not just one. I get it. I understand that would speed things up, but overall it's probably not coming in this first iteration. That's all. So in this, you see very early alpha footage, work in progress of levels. As you can see, it's missing textures and stuff, but it is very much you know, essentially a preview of the work in progress that we've completed so far, showing how you can transition between levels and how you'll be able to build transition spaces between them. There are actually doors that look like walls. Gordian. You can do that, random ladybird, yes. So if you go into the object brush here, you just set the scaling down to the base. I don't think you could go any lower than the base. It would be nice if you could kind of go below average. Unfortunately, it would be within these parameters here. The density and the scaling, randomness, and average right there. Hey, Zach, how you doing, buddy? Let me show you, Ordian. I want to show you how you can do that, though. So I'm going to open up a new map really quick. There's like a base and then larger, I think. Yeah, with the brush. I don't think you can go any below that. But, you know, I could pass that feedback on to Quentin. He might like to hear that. So if you look at the walls, let's draw just a building really quick. I am going to do, yeah, let's just do a Great Hall here. This wall is a great example. So if you go into the doors, there's a few doors that are secret doors. This one in particular actually matches that palette of stone perfectly, but it still does these pillars, so it's like not very secret at the end of the day. But if you open it, it looks quite like the stone wall. There's a few of them that do this. Hey, thank you for the likes, TikTok. Much appreciated. So these few wall types do match. Originally, when they came out, they did not have these pillars. They were perfectly seamed. I don't know what changed or why, but basically anywhere there's a door, it creates a pillar section. I'm hoping at some point we address that to allow for more secretive passages that like transition more smoothly without giving it away in a top-down. But yes, there are at least a handful of walls that match the surface perfectly. Yeah, just make the entire room secret doors, right? So there's pillars in every inch. They don't know the difference. Yeah, that's probably the reason. That, and also all doors need to be capped with pillars as part of the AI design. But I'm hoping we add more like freedom with that eventually. It's perfect now. But now every inch of it is in fact a secret door. Secret tunnel. Oh, okay, Mondu. Are you quoting Incredibles now? Your syndrome. When everyone's super, then nobody is. You could do a Scooby-Doo chase scene here. They'd just be coming out of all the different hallways at different intervals. Yes. It'd be hilarious. Anyway. I would love to see what this looks like on a VTT. It would just be tons of doors. Like the wall and door data for this would be pretty funny. Hey, see you, Mandu. Thank you for being here, buddy. Okay, let's go to the next map, shall we? Yeah, congrats, Geronimo. I will be issuing you your prize sometime before Monday afternoon. By the way, anyone who's curious, the winner of the Damn Challenge always receives a $10 Hero Forge gift card for their efforts. Their map is also the first map featured on the Damn Challenge stream, giving you roughly 20 to 30-ish minutes of FaceTime. And the map is promptly featured in our weekly Cartomancer Chronicle, meaning it also gets more eyes on it and FaceTime, letting people know about your greatness and fine works. So if you're interested in participating in a future Damn Challenge, just keep that in mind. There is a prize on the table, as well as a little bit of bragging rights. Speaking of which, we should start coming up with... you know what? Nope, never mind. I do have an idea for the next theme. I had one picked out already. Stand by for one moment. Hello.
I just walk.
How's this good boy? Well, Random Ugly Guy, you do have access to the free demo, which allows you to try it out for free and kind of get a taste of Dungeon Alchemist. Reminder, though, it's only like a slice of what's available. You only get access to one of the terrain biomes, one room type, a handful of objects. But it's a great way to test drive it on your system and see how it runs. So you're not, like, investing money into something that may not run well on your computer. Another thing that, you know, may want to motivate you is we have an update on the horizon. We're looking at Q1 2025 for our next update, which will include multi-level, hundreds of new objects, and object quality of life improvements, including some of the things we showed earlier, like the object brush, the custom object brush, and a few other new tools. Yeah, Puppy just had a bath. He's a goobs boy. Just had a little bath. Oh, that gate in the Cartomancer page? Yeah, it does. It's really good. Yes, Swedish Cook, thank you for sharing that gate with the community. I appreciate it. This is my puppy Seymour. He's a bit of a stream celebrity. Most of the viewers like him more than me. And he comes in, says hi sometimes, or usually after his bath, he'll come and say hello. But he's a very goobs boy, isn't he? You're a goobs boy. Want to tell everyone you're a goobs boy? What? Will you speak? He doesn't bark when he's being held. He will not. He is just too polite. You are too polite, huh? How's the goobs boy? Okay. Okay. Give you to mom. Thank you for bringing him in. He's so handsome. Okay, let's get back to it. Sorry about that, everyone. So this one is shared by Lord Rev, who is semi-active on TikTok. They're also in our Discord. But I love this because it's just a traditional feast. Very nice layout in what appears to be like a mansion or a fancy estate of some sort. So while we're talking about this theme, I want to talk about the next theme. On occasion, we pick a theme that is somewhat challenge-based, not just theme-based. And I would love our next theme to be kind of in that thought. And I want to kick this idea out to the community and see what everyone thinks. But when you create a map in Dungeon Alchemist, you have all these, different options for making a map. And I was thinking it would be fun to, pick like a very basic map and make that. And by that I mean small. So like the size of a piece of paper. So in the US, when you get paper, it's this size. It's called legal letter. And it's 8.5 by 11 inches. 3x3 no scope challenge. I think it'd be fun to do an American letter challenge, which is a very small map. I'll show you all in a minute. What's up, Hieronymo? Ugh. Let us Americans just have one win this last week, okay? Anyway. Honestly, so 8.5 by 11 is the size of most printers in America. I just thought it'd be cool to get a bunch of maps from our community, and if I could, I'd print a few of them out and share them on the stream, like a physical version, because that would match my printer. But if you check out the feast aspect of this map, it's just beautiful. Absolutely stunning. Very nice little spread. I definitely would enjoy eating here. Reb, are you going to be printing this map? Is the real question to consider. Or is it an entry for a dam challenge? Really quickly. When you set it to letter, I'm just going to show you all. One moment. The map is designed to be constrained within that paper size, if I'm not mistaken. Unfortunately, I don't have my color printer hooked up at the moment. Let me just print it on a black and white one. We'll see what it looks like. It's a good test. Let's see here. Got the paper size. Gonna say there should be an option for like there we go. Oh. Full page. Paper. Let's try this. We're gonna switch it to landscape. Sorry, I only just print documents from this thing, so it's usually configured for that. Give me a minute. Let me just see what it looks like. So it is a little dark. I'm gonna have to play with this. This is definitely, you can't see this. But it is within the margins, so we're good there. The 8.5 by 11 with small borders fits. So if you just, we're gonna just set it as new map, American letter is the size we're gonna go with. Hold on, did I actually do that this time around? Let's just check. Goodness, Mac. Nope, I did not. What did I do? I thought I did it as letter. Wow, that was a horrible test. Let's try it one more time. Nope, we're doing this one here. Sorry, my bad. Give me just 1 second. We're playing around with this. I don't print many maps. It's 9 by 6, but I really want it confined to this setup. Let's see here. Excuse me. Okay, I got it exported. Let me try and print it. Where is it? There we go. So small. There are 3, Jab. So when you look at this, you have flattened perspective. Do you mean these ones here? So there's one that's flattened right there, right? Then you have one that's limited 3D, and then like as 3D as it'll bubble out. You also have the borders. You have normal borders, small borders, and no borders. So I'm thinking we're gonna go 6 by 9 small borders. So 8.5 by 11. So American letter, small borders, export. Yes, but the main thing is I want it in that particular size so I can print it on my home printers. Particularly. We've done small map ones like 10 by 10 in the past. It's always a hoot to see what people can pull off in that much space. I do have a color printer. It's just not hooked up to this computer right now. I'd have to plug it in and get it all set up. So yeah, I'll be a little bit more prepared. At the moment, I was mostly just pitching the idea of a small map to the community for this challenge. I also like small map challenges because more people can participate in them. Excuse me, I might sneeze. Ugh. Okay, let's get back to showcasing maps. Grab. Okay, so here we have another cute feast. This one was very quaint and set up as a just fun campsite feast. I like the idea of this, like this just quaint little area up above, hedged off for a perfect area for food. Your computer, does it have to be double as a heater or a toaster? As you can see here, it's kind of like, it looks like it's on an island or maybe lakeside. Is this your map, Solgrim? Let's check it out. How you doing, my friend? Welcome back. Hey, I like that. Answers to Petunia wears a big bell, very friendly. Does Petunia snuggle? That's all I need to know. Use the heat from your PC to make omelets. Man, I remember when I was younger, when my wife and I like just first got married and we were living in our first apartment and it was tiny. It was a 2-bedroom apartment with the laundry room was inside the one bathroom. So like you'd be in the tub and there was a washer and dryer right across from it. It was very nice. And there was no central air. And it'd get really like muggy and humid and hot during the summer, and then during the winter, like a little cold. There was like a furnace, but it wasn't like it would blow around, you know? And so I'm just thinking back about this, like, oh my gosh, it was awful. It was so awful. But I had an Xbox 360, and the 360s, like, put out a tremendous amount of heat. And we'd always just bundle up and, like, get in one room and I'd game at night. And it would keep the room really warm. It was like a little space heater. I really love this detail here, Sogrim. So what, they didn't check out the board? Psh, tisk. Really nice setup here, Sogrim. It really looks immersive with the pig roaster right there. Looks good. By the way, I'm glad to hear your map exports improved, the animated exports. Or you were able to get them to work with Foundry? Right, we were talking about that a couple weeks ago, weren't we? Or a week or so ago? I feel like we were. This is beautiful, though. Looks really good. It is a cute map. Really detailed. Lots of spirit. Lots of heart. I'm assuming you use the object brush along the edge here to get that little quick wall. Geronimo, that's hilarious. Your wife always complains that it's cold in the office when your computer isn't on. That's funny. Let's take a look at it top down, shall we? Hey, fair enough. It's a trade-off, you know what I mean? You get much higher quality DPI without the file size. But then you go a little bit lower DPI, you get animated maps pretty much of any shape or size. I kind of like to have both, depending on the map. Some maps, it's not worth it to have an animation, you know what I mean? But other maps, it's definitely worth it. One thing I hope is over time, services, you know, like Foundry and Roll20 and Fantasy Grounds improve their support for file sizes, resolution, just animated maps in general. Like, one big problem with Roll20, and like, it's nothing against Roll20, where it's all online through a web-based, you know, service that you don't host locally, there has to be limitations, right? So I think like one of their limitations is your map needs to be 20 megabytes or less. That's kind of problematic if it's an animated map. So a lot of people like they don't really support animated maps over there. People always ask us about that, and it's really nothing we can do about it until they increase their file size and support more stuff. So we hope with time that'll get better, and also we hope that our maps will get more optimized upon export, getting a smaller size that's a high quality still. Oh, I really like the little raised area. It's just quaint. The way it's laid out reminds me of like a camp from Diablo or something like that, where there's all the different people to trade with and chat with. You know what? I appreciate that. Look at the how you been, my friend. I hope you had a good show. Appreciate like all the kind words you share about us and for showing our maps on your demo. I liked or retweeted or something one of your posts that I saw you shared some stuff. So I hope your show went well. There was some talks and some planning going into the possibility of getting a trade show set up, you know, like for Dungeon Alchemist, some sort of convention, but fortunately we decided it's just not the best time. We're going to wait until later, if anything. I'm glad to hear you had a good show, my friend. Well, you got the bed over here, kind of has Baldur's Gate vibes too. Baldur's Gate 3. Not Baldur's Gate 2, Baldur's Gate 3, just in the long rest area, the camp. You got all the little beds set up. Kind of does have that vibe, doesn't it? Because they always are at their tents hanging out. You can go talk to them. Zogrum, how long did you put into this map, my friend? Ah, gotcha. When Quentin was hanging out with us? I thought that was a lot of fun. Can you hide a piece of map? Yes. Not directly in DA, but you could in like a virtual tabletop. You can just block line of sight to it. Or you could plan around having it kind of not visible through what you build in DA. Give me 1 second. So like in the caves, for instance, if you just sealed off the cave and didn't allow them access, what you could do is allow them to find the cave opening, like a crack or something that they can squeeze through, or maybe use gaseous form or something to get through if they do a high enough perception or investigation check. But by default, there is no line of sight allowing them to see this area. So you kind of have to just block it off with rocks or like with an actual wall that they can't see through, and just notate to yourself that on the other side of this wall is indeed a secret area. It's kind of just, it's order of operations and how you plan and build your map and then export it. So if you're playing in person with like a printed map, probably won't work very easily. The problem with that, Jab, is revealing it in something like a virtual tabletop. If it's hidden that way and you're not playing in DA, you can't quickly reveal it without jumping to a whole new scene. Does that make sense? So it will work, but it's a little bit problematic, and like it's not a real-time solution. Thank you, Atlam. Let me show you what I've done in a previous map. I feel like there's a cat hair or two of them in my mustache. Just need to shave my entire, like, the 10 hairs that are left on my head, and then my beard and mustache. Need to get rid of those. Won't be so itchy. So, like in this cave map, for instance, as an example, this area over here is intended to be a secret area that's accessible one of two ways, okay? One, if the players decide to fix this drill or operate the drill, they can drill through in a set amount of time and access this area, right? And find it. Or B, like A or B, different options. If they do an investigation check over here after beating this boss, or a perception check, because there's like a little boss fight here, they will hear or feel wind coming through the cracks in the rocks over here. So they know that something is on the other side. They can either mine their way through, use, explosive, something, or some sort of spell to get through. And then, what do you know? There's a secret area, a tomb, with a treasure chest. Over here is another secret area. I just make mental notes of this, but this blocks out the line of sight so the player won't see it in the VTT. So they won't get a sneak peek of it. But if, hey, for some reason they were, checking things out over here or whatever, then yes, I would. You could give little clues too, like maybe a pile of rocks here, more stuff to kind of like indicate that maybe there was a cave-in or something there. So essentially, if you look at this in top-down, there really is no way the players would physically see this. They have to interact with this area, and then I just drag them over. So in my head, I think this is like, the people who made this tomb carefully covered it up, caved it in after, made it hard to tell it was there. Excuse me. This is just one example, but this is a cave. So in a building, you would probably just have a corridor behind something, like a bookshelf or, something hidden, something hiding it. Whether it's it's a hallway behind us, some sort of statue or a staircase hidden under, a grave or some type of tomb. Like, at the end of the day, you could come up with lots of different solutions to lead into secret areas, given the current available options in DA. Just gonna hurry and generate a wizard tower. And then, what I think would be interesting is we're gonna go to stairs, or structural. There's downstairs, right? Some of these are cool. But you could, like, hide this under a bed, right? At the end of the day, it's really not a bad idea. So, yep, there's a hatch there. Or a staircase, or any number of things that kind of indicate that. I mean, your players could definitely investigate and move furniture around, right? And if they don't, that's kind of their own fault. These ones are another good one. You can just put something right on top of it. Hey, Kaihiro, welcome back. Long time no see. How you been? So this is one option. Another would be like an adjacent room, right? And then you would hide, like this hallway would be hidden behind, you know, whatever. You could do bookcases all along this wall and then do a bookcase door or just more bookcases covering the door. Oops. I mean, there's lots of ways to hide secrets in DA, but the pillars really mess you up at the end of the day. Yeah, the object walls help a lot. That's a great suggestion, too. So you could just take and, you know, generate like a space back here or flatten it out to room height using the terrain tool. So you just select this tool here and go to flatten to room height. Make a section here that's like, oh, a back room that's a secret that you intended on having, right? That could be accomplished by using freestanding walls. So these don't make pillars, but they attach, and if you hold shift and control, they snap into place. So you could do little secret compartments or offshoot rooms that can only be found with a proper investigation check. Oh, of course, Alex. So Alex over on YouTube asks, can you use DA to make diorama style maps? So users in our community use Dungeon Alchemist to make landing pages, dioramas, forced perspective, like regional and world maps. You can do all sorts of things to a diorama scale because you can essentially unlock scaling by disabling collisions. Like most objects, you can make them far larger or far smaller. Where is that asked at? So Logan Bayer over on TikTok asks, how much is Dungeon Alchemist? It depends on your region. We're available on Steam right now. That's the only place you can locate us for purchase. If you're finding us anywhere else, it's probably full of malware, or I wouldn't recommend buying it there. But so it's we have a free demo on Steam if you want to try before you buy, see how it runs on your computer. Keep in mind it's only a small portion of what's available in Dungeon Alchemist. Dungeon Alchemist normally retails for $45.99 US. In the US, varies from region to region though. So like some regions where, you know, their currency may not be as strong, we've adjusted things to make it a little bit more reasonable so they don't have to pay like a half a year's rent to buy a copy of Dungeon Alchemist. So I don't know where you live, I can't really make an assumption, but I do not know the price of every region offhand. The best bet is just to hop on Steam and search Dungeon Alchemist so you could see the price. Black Friday sales, that's a good question. I actually asked Wim about that yesterday. And I'm waiting to hear back. As of right now, I would say no. It's up in the air though. We typically get invited to all major sales. And when we do, it's at 20% off, so you could take the normal price, mark it 20% off. Let's look at some diorama maps, actually. I feel like there was some landing pages that look like dioramas. Like this one here is a great example because it's more of a diorama than it is a landing page. Kind of back to your question there, Alex. So this actually, this was part of a challenge we did a month or two ago called Landing Page is the theme. And the point of it was to make something that you could use as like a loading screen for your campaign on a virtual tabletop. To kind of give it a mood or kind of an energy, you know, a feel. Landing pages are a great way to immerse your players and offer interactivity before you load your maps. It gives them something to look at, usually images of their player characters, maps, information, all sorts of stuff. But this one here was designed more as a diorama where you could kind of look at it from the outside perspective looking in. I really enjoyed this build quite a bit. There's quite a few maps in DA that would work perfectly as dioramas because it's a 3D tool, so diorama is like right up its alley. You know what I mean? In fact, there's one that is an alley. What is that map called? This one, Hangman's Alley. This one is one of my favorite maps of all time. Perfect diorama. Looks like something out of a Harry Potter film or something like that. It's crazy. Like, doesn't that look so cool? And no joke, though, you could put a couple of bookends on the end of this thing and it would be like... It would look like it would fit inside of a bookshelf. Right? Honestly, sky's the limit with Dungeon Alchemist. Once you get used to what you can do in it and like understand like how to, move objects around and manipulate them to your advantage. Doesn't that look like just like what the heck? It's like a tiny little world tucked in between some books. This is one of the most pretty but small maps I've ever seen. Tons of little detail. You could just make an associated map for each of these shops or for the pub. But yeah, there's a lot of maps in DA that would work perfectly for dioramas, especially once you get down to the first person or the cinematic camera level. You can get down here, record a shot or take a picture, use it as a handout in your campaigns or for immersive content for, whatever. I've played on tables where the DM uses shots like these for like theater of the mind kind of primers. And they would use Dungeon Alchemist to just take screenshots of maps or like first person angles or cinematic angles. Alex, after we leave early access, that's a definite possibility. But until then, it will likely not happen because we have so many prior promises and commitments that we have to deliver on first. So Dungeon Alchemist started as a Kickstarter campaign, and that Kickstarter evolved, and we got tons and tons of support. And during that Kickstarter campaign, we crossed a number of goals we set, i.e. stretch goals that essentially laid down the roadmap for our development. All the updates you've had in Dungeon Alchemist, magic update, fun with, our next update, fun with objects, everything is lava, Winter Wonderlands. All of those updates were stretch goals that were part of our Kickstarter campaign. So basically all of the free updates that everyone who purchased Dungeon Alchemist on Steam gets are due in part very much to the fact that Dungeon Alchemist was a successful Kickstarter, and we plan to deliver on all the promises from our Kickstarter before we, take on any excess features or, quality of life improvements that aren't part of that roadmap. So once we have delivered on all those stretch goals and leave early access and Dungeon Alchemist is considered feature complete, a full product, full access, we then will go and do what's called like optional expansion packs. You know how back in the day most video games would come out mostly feature complete, and then you could play it standalone, use it, and it's great. And if later they'd come out with an expansion pack that was essentially a whole other game on top of the game. And that would be how Dungeon Alchemist approaches it. It'll be optional and it'll be a theme. So imagine sci-fi or apocalypse or cyberpunk, and they comes with, hundreds of thousands of objects in that setting, a few dozen room types that are, that auto generate in that setting, and probably a dozen to 20 environmental terrain biomes in that setting. And it would all plug into the Dungeon Alchemist framework and work with all the tools and stuff you're familiar with, but just be more of a very specific genre in this tool. That, unfortunately, though, I would imagine at this point you're looking at 2 to 3 years out. Just a rough guesstimate. Because each update's like 6 months minimum, 6 to 8 months. So after we leave early access, the devs have committed to continue supporting Dungeon Alchemist with feature updates, quality of life improvements, bug fixes, stuff like that. So there'll be plenty of updates after we leave early access to continue supporting it. But there's plenty of people out there that want to use Dungeon Alchemist to do a modern campaign or a sci-fi campaign. And so we have opted to tackle that after that point. Now, keeping this in mind, they will be completely optional. Dungeon Alchemist will work independently of them. They won't be required. It'll just be for people who want that at that point. For now, though, you do have the option of the Asset Importer, which is a tool built specifically to allow our community to fill in the gaps in our development by importing assets that aren't available in our asset library, including assets from other aesthetics, sci-fi, cyberpunk, modern, etc. So I've, as an example here, there is a flat screen TV here that I imported into the Dungeon Alchemist the other day. Hey, Wholesome Sag, how you doing? Welcome. So with that in mind, you can import 3D models into Dungeon Alchemist to make very custom, personable maps. As long as you have access to STL files, FBX files, or GLTF/GLB files, you can import them to Dungeon Alchemist. STL files are very kind of basic 3D files. They import as a flat gray, but we offer a bunch of skins for them so you can change the color. You can import animated 3D models or full color 3D models. So you have a lot of versatility in what you can import into Dungeon Alchemist right now. We paired that with the workshop. So Steam Workshop has integration with Dungeon Alchemist so you can share maps or download community shared maps. There's over 10,130 maps available for free. This is available to anyone who owns a copy of Dungeon Alchemist. It's included with your purchase. We pair that with the asset browser, right? There's 6,500 assets available, many of which are further just flesh out the fantasy aesthetic, but some go into, say, sci-fi or modern or cyberpunk. So people are breaching into aesthetics that aren't currently available in Dungeon Alchemist, giving you much more options. I would say at this time, there's probably about 500 to 1,000 sci-fi assets just in that category. So you could type in sci-fi. If anyone's tagged their, asset as that, then you could find them and start looking through it. There are dozens of sci-fi maps available on the workshop as an example. This one here is actually an apocalyptic map done with assets from the workshop mixed with stock tools and stock, like plants and things like that. That's a great example. One cool thing is if you subscribe and download this map, you have an option to download all the assets. So you have them all in your collection and can start building apocalypse maps using these assets. So you have a palette to kind of pick through. Let's see here. I know we have some sci-fi in here that are amazing. Heck, there's a sci-fi map in this week's Dam Challenge. But here's one with a ship, like a landing site. There's tons of sci-fi maps that people are making right now using the assets available from the workshop. So if you have the ability to put together stuff from scratch, build by hand, and you don't mind spending the time doing so, you can get on the workshop, download some assets, build some really interesting custom sci-fi maps. Right. I do think we offer a very good value for the money. Dungeon Alchemist has just become a better and better value with each passing update. And obviously, I'm a little biased as the community manager, but I've been with the team since we launched in early access. Just as they launched into early access, I joined the team, right? And I've seen it grow so much since that time, what you could do and what's available, both in the objects that are available. I think when I joined the team, there was less than 2,000 objects. Now there's 6,500 stock assets. When I joined the team, there was maybe 30 room types. Now there's well over 100, I believe. There's like 80 to 100 somewhere in there. Biomes, there was like 3. Now there's 13, like environmental biomes. Several of these tools didn't even exist when I joined. The tracing tool to trace maps or overlay maps with effects like compasses or borders or maybe labels. This was something that was added because of requests by our community. It wasn't something we planned on. Effects, another thing like that. So all of these things, have been added over time. They'll add in a few cool new features that weren't planned with a bunch of features that were planned. And it's been really cool watching it grow as a whole. Watching our community share their maps, share 3D models, just grow as cartographers and artists. It's insane that in like the last, year and a half, 2 years, the workshop is blown up and filled with all sorts of stuff. I actually think we have one of the top 10%. I believe, I'm not 100% on this. I swear at one point I saw this when I was looking at data that said we have one of the highest contribution Steam workshops in all of Steam. Because most of them, people use it as like a place to share mods, right? So only mod creators, developers share them. But with Dungeon Alchemist, it's all maps, right? So we're sharing hundreds and hundreds of thousands of maps. I think it's very cool. Anyway, and I mean, how many out there have, before you had Dungeon Alchemist, or maybe currently you don't have Dungeon Alchemist, how many hours a week would you spend searching for a map that might fit your needs back before you had a good map maker that you enjoyed? Because I know before I started using DA, I would spend like 4 or 5 hours a week looking for maps. So, Grum, on our wiki, there is actually a page dedicated to all of the signs' dimensions, because they're all different. Atlam, can you link that, the sign page on the wiki? Excuse me. This map is very beautiful. So it's Lalandra's map. Lalandra, one of the things I really enjoyed about this is all the room shapes. You really went all out, shaping the rooms and making it just a fun space. It seems like you made one big shape and then kind of shaped everything inside of it after the fact. Am I right on that? Or did you just kind of start with one room and add more to it as you went? The lighting in this entryway, very nice. Started with the dining room. Interesting. So you started with this shape with the concave bites into it. Interesting. I like that. That's cool. And you just went from there? How long did it... Oh, tricky. You know what? My first pass of this map, I did not notice the basement. I did not notice the wine cellar. Let's take a look, shall we? I am only human at the end of the day. Holy cow. Beautiful. I love this. So I'm assuming you cut a section out of the room, did a pit or a room just sunk inside of it, and then put some planks above. Platforms or whatever. That is great. Pit room. Smart. Pit rooms are the great way to do a room within a room that's sunken below. Very nice. I like it. It's a great example of multi-level building within Dungeon Alchemist's current ecosystem. Uh-oh, everything's poison. Lilandra Blue built this one. This particular map. By the way, welcome, Wanzo. How you doing? But the particular software you're looking at, Dungeon Alchemist, is made by my bosses. Really, really smart, talented few individuals on the Dungeon Alchemist team. What's going on with Twitter? What did I miss? Okay, so I use my map for my gameplay, so you play within Dungeon Alchemist directly. Unfortunately, at this time, there really is no way to lock objects. I'll be honest with you, I have been, hearing a lot of community feedback for some sort of, simple object lock to prevent it from being deleted or resized or, moved accidentally or accidentally selected, something like that. And unfortunately, there really isn't a consensus on how to address it effectively from the development standpoint. The devs don't want to add more UI. I suggested just a little lock icon, right? So you could just lock it, and then it would be locked. And then you could click the object again, but it couldn't move unless you unlocked it, right? Maybe you could right-click on it to open the UI again or something. But they didn't like that because they don't want to add more UI. It makes everything congested. And if you add a UI for every little feature before too long, then it's like, ugh, it gets really congested. I saw a couple of traps. I don't know how many traps were there. I saw the saw blade for sure. And then I assume this was a trap then, right? Poison food. There's this saw blade right here. Oh, Wanzo was sorry. Sometimes I miss a question because the chat flow, and I apologize for that. So did I address your question, or was there a different question that I missed? Oh, bear traps. Cool. Let's look around. I'm gonna look. Oh, bear trap. I see it. That one is probably, I shouldn't have missed that. I don't know why I'm blind to some stuff when I'm like looking through maps. Okay, tripwire. Tripwire is probably harder to see. It's like a clue house at the moment. Well, by the way, these streams are, even the Dam Challenge stream, I will do my best to answer questions. While today's stream is a focus on community maps and the entries from this particular contest, and I like to showcase them and give the creators their credit because, they put themselves out there and spent some time making a map, so I want to give credit where credit's due. That being said, if someone comes in and has a question or concern, I will do my best to try and address it. Especially if I don't miss the chat. I will drop everything and try to answer the question. Many of you know that, these streams are AMA format, which means ask me anything as long as it's Dungeon Alchemist related. You can pop in and ask questions, and I will do my best to provide guidance and support throughout the streams. And if we're not live, you can pop into our Discord and ask questions, spin up a support thread or a question forum thread. Alternatively, you can hop into our wiki, which is 24 hours a day. It's like a manual, essentially, that you can reference. Lilandra, I'm not finding the tripwire. Can you point me towards it? I don't want to spend 2 hours looking for it. I'm sorry. Fall into the bear trap? Oh, gotcha. Okay, so it would be... It was over here. Where is the tripwire? Huh. I'm not seeing it. I am noticing, though, you have a mirror blocking the door here. Is that intentional? I'm going to get in first person, see if I can see it. Thank you for the likes, TikTok. Much appreciated. Yeah, I'm not seeing the tripwire anywhere there. Am I supposed to see it right here? The Dam Challengers are bi-weekly. So, every other Saturday... Oh, I see it. It is tiny. It is so hard to see. I have to be at just the right angle. So, the every other Saturday is a Dam Challenge, and the opposite Saturday is the Dam Stream. So, when you save a map in Dungeon Alchemist, it's saved as a .dam file. That's our proprietary map format. It stands for Dungeon Alchemist Map. So, we lean into that a little bit, have some fun with it. So, we have the Dam Challenge, the Dam Stream, etc. So the Dam Challenge bi-weekly map making contest, anyone can enter, and the prize is a $10 Hero Forge gift card. In fact, speaking of which, our next theme is going to be put up momentarily. I guess we could just go 6x9 for everyone to keep, or 9x6, right? That's the size we need to be print. So normally we pick a theme, like a one-word theme, and you use that as inspiration. This time I'm going to challenge you all to make a map that fits inside of a 9x6, which is the default size for American letter, i.e. an 8.5x11 sheet of paper. So everyone is challenged to make a map that'll fit inside this space, and you can make whatever you want on that map as long as it fits in there. There are rules for the Dam Challenge that must be followed. So please just make sure you follow the Discord server rules, and then also there's 4 rules pinned at the top of the Dam Challenge to qualify your entry. That's it. So there's a challenge, there's a channel in our Discord labeled Dam Challenge with all the corresponding info. I mean, it has nothing. You're gonna have to get everyone to change their printers, bro. So the majority, like, American printers is, like, they print at that size. Hazak asks on YouTube, any chance we'll be able to change the tint or cloth of key items, curtains, walls, tiles, cloth on furniture? I mean, you can do it on a lot of items already. I don't know if you know that. Like this, for instance, this furniture right here, you can change the colors of key parts of it. Some objects can and some objects can't. I doubt we'll be able to add it to every single object, mainly because we go through and add the effect and color filters for each of these colors for this object. So it's not like you can go grab from a hex key and it would look great. Each of these are customized for this particular object, if that makes sense. So some objects do offer that, like for instance candles, potions. You can go through and change many different things colors. So right here, I mean, there's several different items you can change. And within the stock item set, some of them, when you look at them, if they can change, they'll have this little palette on them. This one here is called a hue shifter. You can kind of click a couple different options on the end or slide the hue between them to give you a little bit of diversity, like it was painted. At the end of the day, we will be handpicking and doing it to a few objects with the Fun with Object update. It's hard to say which ones, but I highly doubt things like walls will do that. Mainly because the walls are all pre-configured and set up as individual walls. We do print an 8.5 by 11 here in the US. All right, Reb, we'll see you later. American letter is 8.5 by 11. That's what this is. What my printer's full of. Honestly, yeah, I joke about this quite often, and it's silly too, because like our measurement system, yeah, they'd rather measure things in like eagle feathers and bullets than they would before they convert to the metric system. I honestly though, I know both systems rather well and have gotten pretty acclimated, mainly because I do like a little bit of CAD design and 3D modeling and 3D printing. So I got used to using like calipers and like millimeter measurements and like, and in school, like growing up, they taught us how to use like the metric scale and like all the different measurements in it and to convert between them. Like I learned it in elementary school. It's just you don't use it every day, so it's not something you retain. You know, our cars have miles per hour in them, but they also show kilometers per hour in them. So I could technically see and learn both. Wanzo, that's incredibly good question. So, what is the largest map size you can make? That is entirely dependent on your computer specs. So, Dungeon Alchemist is real-time render 3D engine, and as you scale the map up, add more objects, more lighting, more effects, it essentially starts slowing down the more you add to it. Some people can get maps well up to, you know, like 100 by 100, 200 by 200 without an issue with their monster machines that, you know, make other people cry when they talk about them. And others, you know, they can only handle about a, you know, 40 by 40 or less. Some other things that it can help you get a map that's larger while you're building if you want to squeeze out some frames. You can go into the file menu and go to settings, set your graphics quality to low. Dungeon Alchemist, when it's running at low, it'll always export at the highest quality. So you can run it low, that less lighting, less shaders, stuff like that. Well, I was just saying if you're having trouble running DA at 80 by 80 and you need to optimize your performance. Yep, in the back end, you know, if you're making massive maps, you need to consider where you're putting those maps, where they're going to be used. So let's say you plan to export them for virtual tabletop. If you're doing that, all virtual tabletops have limitations. And by that, I mean they have file size limits, resolution limits, etc. Not to mention, you have so many variables when you play online through a virtual tabletop, i.e. your players' internet connections, their computers, you know, the size of the map, like all these different things play into, you know, trying to make the perfect session. So, big maps are fun to build, but in practice, not always the easiest thing to work with. I tend to try to stay 80 by 80 or less, mainly because once you get larger than that, most virtual tabletops won't accept it. It's a pain to get it printed in a reasonable size. And the file sizes become very large, making it very hard to play effectively, even in Dungeon Alchemist, for most. Hazik, you must have been out of the loop for a while, because yes, there's tons of news on Multifloor. We've been releasing teasers on it for like 2 months, 3 months now. Tons of new stuff about it. And you definitely don't need to tell me how much everybody wants or would enjoy this feature. Trust me, I know. I get begged for it daily. Oh, man. I read community reports. I look at the upvoting. I see all your suggestions. Trust me. I know how much you want it. This is not available yet. This is work in progress, alpha, beta footage. But I will tell you, if you want to build multi-level, very possible with what's currently available in Dungeon Alchemist. There's just no automated generated support for it. So the system won't generate each floor for you or line everything up. You're going to have to go in and stack everything by hand, raise up, the walls, build floors by hand. Pretty much once you're beyond the first level, everything is objects beyond that first level. Yeah, Hazak, if you haven't seen stuff in a while, you are like in for a surprise, my friend, because there is so many like teasers and new things on the horizon with this next update. Man, I'm getting hungry. I'm thinking for lunch, what should I eat? Went grocery shopping the other day, so I've got like full stores. We've also got some leftovers. You know what? I think I'm going to eat some leftovers because I like getting the leftovers out of the fridge before I pull something else out to eat. But we have leftover cornbread muffins, so I could have some like chili and cornbread muffins and some like Frito chips. That'd be yummy for lunch. Or I could have leftover enchilada. We had enchilada for dinner and we have some leftovers. Both would be really good. I'll let chat decide what I eat. Should I have an enchilada or should I have chili and cornbread? Oh, green curry? Dang, that sounds so good. Ooh, I love me some curry. So we got a couple chili votes. Zach just has to, make fun of how I eat. So if you look at this Hazak, you'll see ceilings very much present in this video. You also notice doors and windows and objects no longer overhang the wall. There is actually wall going up to the ceiling. This is a new implement in the next update. We're hoping to launch Q1 2025, so probably the first 4 months of next year is the estimated time of arrival at this time. I don't have any more concrete data than that. I do things that I don't even think are weird that other people find really weird. I don't know. I always enjoy sweet and savory. I know a lot of people in the US enjoy this, but when you say this to people outside the US, they sometimes cringe. But I love getting like a vanilla or chocolate milkshake and dipping French fries into it or chips. So I guess crisps you would call them, Zach, like potato crisp. I also really enjoy peanut butter on cheese sticks. Don't know why. Just a good combination. What's a weird food y'all eat? Let's hear about it. I'm sure each of you have this weird thing that you probably don't tell anyone because they're afraid you're afraid they'll judge you for it. Or you probably wouldn't eat it in front of people for that reason. No one will judge you here. If anything, we might have a giggle, but we don't know you in person, so that's the perfect people to tell. Let's talk about our weird food cravings and what we eat. So Zach eats custard using a banana. So instead of using a spoon, he uses a banana. Interesting. All right. So Hazak, this here is some work in progress footage showing transitions between flooring. You'll obviously see some missing textures and some clipping and stuff, but it's on its way. You have been out of the loop for a while. If you haven't seen any of this, I'm sure this is probably mind-blowing to you. So notice how the pillars transition to the upper part of the ceiling. So some will hit the lower ceiling, some will hit up to the higher part. So wherever the pillar is, it'll automatically extend up to the ceiling wherever the ceiling is. And you can cut out portions of floor from central, floors, so you can have like balconies, mezzanines like you're seeing here. Salted caramel and bacon shakes are good. That sounds yummy, actually. Okay, so my time to shine, Illuminatio says, classic Lay's chip, 1 pickle. So you do a classic potato chip and then like a dill pickler chip, right? Is that what you're saying? And then a dab of mustard. So by dab, explain dab, like a dollop or like a little boop, like a pea size. And then another just potato chip. So you just make like a potato chip sandwich, essentially, with a dill pickler chip in the inside. Honestly, that sounds delicious. Here's a sandwich I've eaten since I was 12. My family are horrified. 2 slices of dry toast with the following between: peanut butter crisps, Wotsits. So, Wotsits, is that like a potato chip? A potato crisp? Is it salted? What's the flavor? Spaghetti, Heinz, luncheon meat, lettuce. It's like a Scooby-Doo sandwich. So, on occasion, I'll take some bread and I'll throw some spaghetti in it, eat it like a sandwich. Just because it's yummy. But I'm also like really Italian in my heritage, so like I just will eat like noodles and like any type of pasta as any type of meal. Sort of like Cheetos. Okay, that's interesting. I'm not like against it. It seems like it would be hard to push. So are they a cheese ball, or are they more like a kind of like a crispy Cheeto type thing? Like the sticks? Because cheese balls would be a pain. Honestly, I love talking food with y'all because it's interesting discovering what foods you all like and what like is normal in your culture or what you enjoy. Curly puffs? Interesting. I'd be down to, let me Google these. Oh, they totally are. They're just, okay. So they're poofed. They're like, Cheetos poofed type. Or they're like, just extra, like, big. Those are, I love those, by the way. So in the US, they do them in 3 styles, primarily. Like that, like the curl type. And then they do a ball type, right? And then they do they also do, what's the 3rd type? Oh, it's like a crispy little crunchy, like shrunk down instead of like bulged out. It's much smaller, but it's a little bit crunchier. Hey, Big Hugs, how you doing? Welcome. I melted cheese over grape nut cereal. Oh my gosh. Michelle, that is, I don't know what to think about that. Honestly, I just never was a fan of grape nuts growing up, but now that you say it's like grits, I kind of see that the consistency is there. We're talking about everyone's guilty pleasure food that they'd be embarrassed to share in public or tell other people in public. Because you're on stream, you can talk about it here. We can't really judge you because we don't know you in person, right? So what's the weird food you like eating? We're also showing teasers from our next update titled Fun with Objects, where they're working on all sorts of new implements, including multi-level and kind of fun, new, interesting quality of life features for object implementation into maps. Michelle, that sounds terrifying, but also I want to try it. I'm a big fan of cheese stuff. Hey, by the way, I didn't notice these follows earlier, so Wanzo, thank you for the follow, and Apostle of Anarchy, thank you so much. Found this map very beautiful, just a nice color palette, good patois, if you will. Little tableau. But it just looks like a fun place to hang out, enjoy a picnic, maybe get eaten by a chest. I love those videos that show people visiting the US for the first time or like eating US based food for the first time. Like, but they're from a totally other, like a different culture. Like they could be from, you know, like somewhere in the UK, or they could be from the Middle East, or they could be from Japan. It's their first time eating American food. It is a Fae feast. It's a beautiful feast. I love it. This is so whimsical. Here, let's give it a little bit more Fae fun, if you will. What I like to do in the Feywild is give it one of these two light filters usually, or these three. It always looks so good. Just pops. I like my Feywild maps to pop. Bro, that actually sounds really good, Big Hugs. I'm a big fan of, you know, some, you know, homemade quesadillas or burritos. Chili cheese, Fritos, hot sauce from the 7-Eleven. My man, that must have been a tough time, but also you made do with what you had, right? Sounds delicious to a degree. Must be warm, not a cold cereal thing. Okay, I was a little concerned about that for a moment, Michelle. A little concerned. Melted cheese over a cereal that's traditionally served with milk. Grape nuts made me worry. But, you know, I'm not going to judge. Okay, one thing I love to do. So, y'all ever had a breadstick before, right? Like at any restaurant, or like the long breadsticks, right? Like something you would get at maybe like Olive Garden or kind of a restaurant like that. So breadsticks. When I was in high school, there was like the school lunch, and then there was a few vendors that there was like some pop open windows, and the vendors would bring their food in and sell it during the day. And one of them was like a little ma and pop, like a Mexican restaurant, and the other one was like a Domino's pizza. And depending on the day of the week, they had different sales. And so I was, you know, I was like a broke teenager. My mom worked really hard, worked 2 jobs, single mom, and like I didn't really have a big budget for lunch. So and until I got my own job, really. And so I would just like, it'd be like $2 a day was my budget for lunch back then, if I remember correctly. Maybe even less. And they had a special, you get like a pizza, a soda, and like breadsticks for like $3. Or you could get a pizza and like 5 breadsticks, or not a pizza and a 5 breadsticks, but like 5 breadsticks and like a soda for $2. So I do that every day instead of pizza, because I felt like the pizza wasn't as filling as 5 breadsticks would be, because it was like a little slice of pizza. So I would just eat breadsticks and soda, but I got into like dipping the breadsticks in the soda, and people thought it was really weird, but I enjoyed it. And it would like like Pepsi would soak into the breadstick, and it was really good for some reason. I don't know why, but you know, that was high school weirdness. So I haven't done that in probably 20 years at this point. Man, I watched this video the other day of these a couple like British travelers, and they went to like a rib restaurant, like in like somewhere back east in like the southeast US, or somewhere out there where they're really serious about their ribs. and he, like, they were starting to eat it, and the restaurant owner came up to him. He's like, no, you don't eat like that. And then he showed him how to eat it the right way, and they were like completely flabbergasted with like the flavor and like the like presentation, and everything about it was so weird to them, but they loved it at the end of the day. It just like made me smile. I love when people try other cultures and like adopt it and are cool with it, you know what I mean? Because it is like stepping out of your comfort zone. What's up? Oh, cool. Thank you. Appreciate that. So, my son just let me know that a package just arrived, and my neighborhood is notorious for porch pirates. So, I want to go get that, and I'm also noticing that the stream only has about 5 minutes left. So, by the time I go get that package and run back, it's like gonna be time to wrap up the stream. So, I'm thinking maybe we should just wrap up 5 minutes early, call it a day, and go from there. I want to make sure. Okay, there is one map I did not open today, and I'm going to open it right now. Zentix. We're going to spend 2 more minutes looking at maps, and then we're going to wrap it up, okay? So just a quick reminder that our next theme is a size-based theme, a challenge. So your map needs to be in a 9x6 map grid or smaller, and it needs to be small borders with the export. So I guess I'll just export it with the damn file. I'll get rid of that part. So we'll just do 9x6 to keep it simple, okay? Sound good? Because I'll just export on my end with that. This is no moon. This is no map. It's a space station. Here we have an orbital platform. Zentik has been really doing a lot of sci-fi maps lately, and honestly, you gotta hand it to him. He's really found his niche. He's doing a really good job, and he's really kind of just jumping into the void, if it were, because, like, honestly, there's not a whole lot of support for this other than the objects on the workshop. So I commend him. I tip my hat. I salute him for putting so much effort into this. I do hope with time we get more, objects uploaded to the workshop that are somewhat into the sci-fi aesthetic. I know a lot of our creators, yourself included, Zach, you tend to focus on the kind of the missing things or things that you feel you need for your builds or things that people request, mostly within the aesthetic of the, like, fantasy. You have done some sci-fi themed stuff and whatnot. I'm excited to see how it goes with time. Yeah. Dyson, I agree. I would love to see some sort of, like, astral sea or, something like that. Space biome of some sort would be great. I'm thinking in high seas it will likely be addressed. We'll likely have several, sea-based biomes, whether it's an ocean or, space, etc. Does he create all of his own? That's great. That's fantastic. I didn't connect the dots mainly because his name isn't the same. That's good to know. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for hanging out. Had a lot of fun hanging out with you during the Damn Challenge today. Remember, the next theme is 9x6. The map must fit in a 9x6 grid. Be 9x6 or smaller to qualify. Thank you so much for being here. Our next stream will be Mapmaker Monday. During the Monday stream, I'm building an ancient cemetery live for you to watch, follow along, participate in by giving ideas and suggestions towards the build. We also provide live AMA support during that stream. That starts at 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Eastern, and 5 p.m. UTC. We'll see you Monday if you want to check that out really quickly before we take off. Oops. Just going to open up that map so people can see how it's coming along. It is a really good one. I really like when people kind of jump into these different aesthetics and take a risk, because I know it's not easy to, make a map in sci-fi because it's all by hand right now. You know what I mean? It's not necessarily supported. And other than, through the workshop, and it does take a little bit of extra effort, and I appreciate the effort that goes into those maps. Anyway, shoot, this is taking forever to load. I forgot. I cleared out my subscriptions to the workshop this morning. So I could, like, basically before I do a stream with the Dam Challenge, I unsubscribe from all maps, all assets, and then I resubscribe just to the maps from the Dam Challenge and make sure that's all I have in my thing. And I get them all loaded before the stream to make sure I have all of the objects preloaded and everything and good to go. But yeah, sometimes, you know, if it's a map I wasn't planning on loading, this happens. Yeah, we should probably take a better look at it next stream. It's taken forever. Sometimes Steam is really quick. Sometimes it's really, really slow. Apologize, everyone. But thank you so much for participating today with the Dam Challenge stream. Those that submitted maps, those that hung out and watched, those that lurked. Thank you for supporting this community initiative, whether you were on Twitch, whether you're on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, or Steam. I appreciate each and every one of you. You're going to eat, grilled cheese with pickled peppers? That actually sounds delicious, Andrew. I can vibe with that, my man. That sounds really good. I like a grilled ham and cheese with pickles on it, so I wouldn't see that much of a difference. Pickled peppers. Andrew Workman likes a grilled cheese with pickled peppers. That sounds delicious. All right, I am going to just show you this map and then we'll wrap up the stream. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. Again, my name is Mac. I am the community manager for Dungeon Alchemist. Dungeon Alchemist is a map-making utility available on Steam. We currently offer a free demo, so you can try Dungeon Alchemist before you buy, get an idea of how it runs on your system, and see what it's all about. Uh-oh, did we just crash? Hope not. Anyway, here is the map we've been working on over the past few Mondays. It is definitely coming along. It's an expanding cemetery that has a massive cathedral and garden. We're going to do some more plots over here, some more roads, some more plots over here, and then I have a spot, I think in either, I guess maybe a caretaker's property here or over in that corner, one or the other. We'll figure it out. Anyway, we'll see you back here on Monday. Until next time, my name is Mac. Have a good weekend. Bye, everyone. Mac out. Bye. We'll see you next time I give a damn, I guess I should say. Bye.